Can we still have dreams even after pain enters our lives? When you think about your future, does it scare you, frustrate you, or just make you feel numb? Because one of the hardest things that chronic pain takes from us, it's not just our daily struggle. It's our ability to imagine a future we actually look forward to. So if pain ever makes your future feel smaller and possibly hopeless and without purpose, we're going to talk about that today in this episode. Because today we're talking about something that pain does try to steal from us, and that's a vision for our future. And more importantly, how to begin rebuilding that. And I just want to say that during our last several videos, you might have noticed that we haven't necessarily been giving you direct steps each time on getting out of pain. But what's important for all of us to remember is that because pain is so often treated as only a physical issue, our non-physical self seems to be forgotten very often. We have difficult emotions, expectations, and dreams that have become a part of our lives as a result of that physical pain. In my many years of unmanaged pain, healthcare providers seem to only be searching out the physical components of my pain and not dealing with all those other parts that were involved. It was only after I started recognizing and working on those other non-physical parts that my life began to change in very meaningful ways.
Great point, Debbie. And if you think about it, discovering your vision doesn't necessarily have to start with giant dreams.
Right.
I mean, sometimes it starts with simply believing maybe my life isn't over.
Right. Because when pain becomes persistent, it's really easy to stop looking forward. At least that's what happened to me. So instead of thinking about my future with questions like, well, what do I want? What excites me? What does my future ideal self look like? What kind of life do I want to build? It was more like, how bad is my pain going to get? Will I be able to function? What if things get worse? So pain pulled my focus into the here and now. And so that increased my fear in the moment, which actually increased my pain. And focusing on the here and now does not allow us to have dreams of a satisfying and purposeful life.
Yeah, that's a pretty important point, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, and let me mention here, I've trained health coaches how to help their clients develop a vision for their future ideal self. So this topic's important to me. And I'm going to share later in our conversation about some tips I've shared with health coaches that I've trained.
Oh, that'll be good.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, when the nervous system gets threatened, I mean, it naturally narrows its attention toward things like protection from danger, maybe a desperate desire for safety. Because our brain becomes focused on, how do I get through this?
Sure.
Not something like, what kind of future do I want?
Yeah, absolutely. And after a while, we stop imagining any future at all, really.
Yeah.
And the strange thing is, I didn't realize that was happening to me. I just slowly stopped planning anything, because I stopped hoping. I stopped imagining any possibilities for the future because, really imagining a better future, it started to kind of feel dangerous. So emotionally, it felt safer not to try to dream.
Yeah, and that makes sense too, right? Because hope can feel vulnerable after years of pain and disappointment. So it's real easy to stop envisioning a future because we're busy trying to protect ourselves from more hurt.
That's
here
right.
and now, and even into the future.
Right, yeah. But eventually I realized that not allowing myself to have a future was hurting me too.
Tell us more.
Well, I learned that rediscovering my vision for the future was not pretending that my pain didn't exist. It wasn't, that unrealistic positivity. And it certainly was not, everything's gonna just be amazing now. No, it was really allowing myself to ask, what kind of life do I still want to move toward, despite the pain, even if pain is still part of the picture?
Wow. Yeah,
that wasn't easy.
No, but it sounds like a pretty healthy distinction, right?
Yeah.
Because if somebody starts to think, well, if I can't have my old life back, then there's no use in even imagining a future, right?
Sure, yeah.
But life's more flexible than that. And we can't predict the future. If you think about it, our short-term thinking brain is usually determined to paint a dismal future.
Yeah.
Right? But you and I have seen, enough growth in both you and others, our clients that we know, that a short-term thinking, pain-focused brain, it's just not an accurate predictor of the possibilities of the future.
Yeah, I definitely found that, didn't I?
Yes. So we need to tell ourselves these truths about our potential future.
Okay.
Right? Because in spite of our current struggles, maybe even overwhelming ones with pain, here's some truths. Meaning can still exist.
Right.
In the future, joy can still exist. In an ideal self down the road, connection can still exist. Right? Purpose. What about purpose? It can still exist.
Yeah.
Some of these things might be different, but they can still be lived genuinely.
Yeah, that's such a good point, Jim. You know, I've seen that recently. I have some younger friends who were diagnosed with MS, and they have really inspired me and a lot of others because they have found meaning and purpose in their lives despite having a disease that can actually be debilitating. And one thing I learned is that rebuilding our vision doesn't have to start big. It usually starts pretty small. You know, it's not changing the world or expecting everything's going to be perfect. It's smaller than that. You know, it's I can enjoy some pleasurable moments again. I can encourage someone else who's struggling. I can focus on what's meaningful in my life, you know, like being there to, you know, play with my grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even a small vision is still pretty valuable.
Yeah, and that's pretty important because people often think a vision has to be dramatic.
Right.
But even I have more peace, or I've got more connection with my friends and family, or I feel more like myself.
Yeah.
Right? More like reconnecting with like we talked the last couple of episodes, more like I'm living out my strengths, or I'm living out my values. Those are profound, right?
Right.
They're meaningful visions.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, our small vision can even expand into a bigger vision later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one thing that helped was remembering my values. Like we talked about last week, you know, the things in my life that mattered to me gave me direction before I had confidence to think of what my vision could even look like. So I was slowly reconnecting with things that mattered to me, such as I love encouraging people, finding new ways to connect with people instead of isolating myself, being creative in how I could play with my grandchildren despite my health issues. So I started imagining a small future again, not a perfect one for sure, but, you know, a meaningful one.
Yeah, that was so important, wasn't it? But my question is, was I in that vision in the future?
Well, I guess most of the time.
Ooh, okay. Thanks for that, Debbie.
Yeah. But really, my small growing vision reminded me that there was still life ahead of me, even when I couldn't see it yet. It just reminded me it will be there. And, you know, we need that. Everybody needs that.
Yeah, I talked earlier that I would give some practical tips on creating a vision,
right?
Of an ideal self. I've included some links to some articles about creating a vision, and those will be in the description, right? So here's a couple of steps. You can search the internet, search the web for how to create a vision. You can ask your favorite AI tool. But here's a couple of Jim. Maybe your favorite Jim is
Jimisms.
Some favorite Jimisms. So write the answers to some of these questions, like what brings you joy?
I like that one.
Yeah. What brings you joy? What's missing that would have the biggest impact in your life if you had it?
Okay.
Simple question, but a good vision-oriented question. Ooh, you talked about values, right? What value could you not live without?
Okay.
Yeah, that gives you a little clue about maybe how your ideal self might be living in the future. What do you need to let go of to make room for more good?
Okay, that's thought-provoking.
I think you could take a look at those 2 articles in the description, and they've got some more questions, some more vision-oriented questions. So that's
Good.
that's kind of like step 1.
Okay.
Step 2 is look back over the answers to any vision questions that you've come up with and see if no pain is a requirement for any or all of them.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's real easy if you're in pain to say, well, my ideal self is without pain. But this is a really good exercise. If any of the ones say, well, I have no pain and therefore I'm connecting with people or I'm living my best self or I have more joy. But my encouragement is go back through in any of those questions that you said, well, I don't have any pain. Re-answer the questions with this caveat. If eliminating pain was not a requirement, how would you have answered each of those questions?
Okay. It's challenging, but
It's
we can do
really
it.
challenging, yes,
Yeah.
but it's really valuable. And then a third one is now take your answers and write out a quick, simple draft statement of what a future ideal self would look like.
Okay.
You've done this exercise, right, Debbie?
Yeah, actually.
You got any to share with us? Some of the snippets of your vision?
Yes. Okay. I'll share a couple of them.
Okay.
Related to my family, my children and grandchildren, do not doubt that I love and accept them unconditionally. They know that I make time for them and are interested in the things that interest them. And I take time for my friends, whether through calls or texts or visits. I'm an encourager and a good listener.
Ooh, okay. Now, interesting, it doesn't say anything about pain or no pain or without pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's valuable. What else you got?
Yeah. I had one on personal growth. I continue to learn and grow in my health field and in my character traits, focusing especially on my spiritual growth. And then I have one on health, and this is the last one I'll share.
Okay.
I take time to make good choices for my health, remembering to move more, eat healthy, hydrate, pace myself, which we've talked about, and be proactive in taking care of my bones and specifically my pelvis.
Ah, that's right, because for you, that's where pain resides.
So
right?
So that's the way I answered a few of those.
Well, no, that's great. That's great. I mean, those are good examples, right? They're nice and simple, but they're focused, right?
Yeah,
on some good, ideal Debbie in the future. Now, I noticed that they were written in present tense.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's step 4 in my tips is if you didn't write your draft in present tense, go back through and write it so you have a lot of I am statements, right?
Even though I'm not there yet.
Even though you're not there yet, because that's the beauty of a vision. If it's written in present tense and you read it to yourself or read it to others or share it like you just shared to us, then your brain doesn't know the difference between what you imagine or what you say in present tense versus what's actually currently happening. So it kind of gives a little bit of drive, a little energy, it's something for you to be look forward to.
Right. And one of the things I like about vision statement is we can then start asking ourselves as we read it, okay, so that's where I would like to be. That's where I am trying to see myself.
So what you're longing to get to eventually, right?
So what is one small step I can take toward that? And just focus on what is one small step. It doesn't have to be, looking at all of them, but just, we talked about those baby steps.
A baby step. That was in my head.
I knew it was.
Step. Yes.
That's right.
A profound baby step.
That's right. And that's enough to get you started. And just, very slowly over time, continue. I encourage people to keep that vision statement somewhere where they see it regularly and just keep envisioning, there's a future for me.
Great idea.
Yeah. So if pain has made the future feel scary for you, helpless, emotionally difficult to imagine, I get it. But I want you to hear this. Your story might have changed, but your future is not automatically over. There are still meaningful moments ahead for you. There's still meaningful relationships, still meaningful growth that can happen, still meaningful purpose for you. Your vision might begin very slowly, and that's okay. Very slowly, very gently, but even small hope is still hope.
And sometimes healing begins the moment someone starts imagining possibility again.
Yeah. You don't need to have your whole future figured out. You just need enough hope to take one small step forward. And that's significant. If this conversation connected with you, we'd love for you to subscribe and share it with someone who might need encouragement today. And we'll see you next time. And as always, your pain is real, and there is hope. And our goal is to help you have your pain in the rear view.